That's fine. Went down and. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to reconvene to open session, back to regular meeting. I'd like to ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, yeah, I need to call roll again. Yes, I need to call roll again for regular session because sorry, guys, exercise stretch. Call roll for the
New city council Pilates.
yeah. Okay, I got, would you please? Thank you.
Member Atlan,
Here.
Councilmember LaFane. Here. Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rhodes,
Here.
and Mayor Maida.
Here. Let's go ahead and pledge the allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Yes, of course. Why is Dominic standing?
Josh is going to report out of closed session, and he's also going to make a few statements. So I'm requesting Council Member LaFane, since she's recused for this topic as a council member, that she refrain from any comments. If she'd like to speak as a public citizen, that's another issue.
Go down there.
Go ahead, Josh.
For closed session, the council has authorized a few remarks for the litigation closed session item. Of course, as pending litigation, so remarks in open session are limited. But for the record, the council would like the public to know that before this litigation commenced, there was a settlement offer made that was rejected. Also, 2 mediation attempts were offered. Those were also rejected. And then another settlement offer was made after this litigation was commenced, and that was rejected as well. So litigation is typically a last resort, and there were alternatives explored, but the council wanted to make that information known.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
No, wait, we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk until I get.
I'm going to talk about it, but I am.
I'm going to ask you to please
Not forget.
I'm asking you to please wait until.
Years old.
Councilmember,
I want you to please
comment.
You have your time to speak.
Be nicer. You don't have to yell.
You have, I can't get you to hear me otherwise, but please wait until I get direction from Josh how this is done. I'm not sure how this is done, Josh.
It's public comment period on the announcement, so members of the public or Councilmember LaFane and her.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the public comment, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and before we do that, and does Councilmember LaFane, could she speak from this podium?
She may. If you'd like some relief from going down there, you can stay here.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm doing this the right way. I don't want to have any discretion, make any mistakes.
No, we don't want any of that. Because this sort of behavior.
Okay, you know,
Mister, did you say I could speak?
no,
For 4 minutes public comment, it would be her turn to.
I haven't even opened it up, public comment yet. So I would like you to at least wait for the protocol, please.
Sir.
You got plenty of time. You can say anything you want, as long as you want. Okay, please be mindful. This is a reminder of the 4-minute time limit per person pursuant to the Brown Act. The city council may not take action or engage in a detailed discussion on an item.
Mayor, sorry, we're not there yet. This is just public comment on item E, the report out of closed session. So you can just go straight in.
Oh, okay, that's okay. That's why I'm getting confused here because we're getting out of sync here because it sounded like we're gonna go right to public comment. So I want to make sure I do this right. Now we have to go to approval agenda.
No. We're taking public comment on
The closed session.
announcement that I just made. So you can
Okay.
go straight in.
Josh just talked about, please. Anybody have public comment? Councilmember LaFane can speak from here or wherever she'd like. After.
I just want to say thank you. I really do appreciate that you guys gave us an update at least, because usually closed session, we don't know anything. And then we have the problems you guys talk about on social media. So at least letting us know this happened, that should get a lot of the, what ifs out of the way. So I appreciate you guys did that. Thank you.
Okay, more public comment? Okay, Councilmember LaFane, if you'd like to speak, please, as a citizen.
As a citizen, you've told me before I can't speak as a citizen from this dais or ever because I'm not a public citizen.
It'd be
So
better.
you've changed I just want to make it clear, you've changed your mind.
You can always comment
Yeah.
as your
You've
citizen.
changed your mind
It'd be
again.
better if you went down to the podium, but it's okay if you need an accommodation to stay there.
Yes, I need an accommodation to stay here.
Fine.
Let's start the timer, please. Yes.
Let's restart the timer so she gets her full 4 minutes, please.
Can we start after they're done? Okay,
Just
thank
trying to
you.
make sure they
The
reset.
timer just started, so you're
You
on.
just used 5 seconds. Okay. It's interesting that what they're reporting out is their position of what they've done this year. Not in 2020, not in 2021, not in 2022, not in 2023, not a word. How many times did I email this council to work something out? Multiple emails. How many times did an attorney I hired on a limited scope reach out to the city and receive no response? Multiple times. So to offer a settlement of $10,000 when the case hasn't even been adjudicated yet to determine who's at fault is ridiculous. The fact that this council approves to come up and to the dais and use this as to put out a narrative is a waste of your money. It does not belong here. It belongs with the attorneys. It does not belong with these council members who are all biased, clearly, because they refuse to look at the contract. This is all retaliation. As far as the settlement offers, I've made multiple. I stated very early on, I did not want to sue the city over what happened in 2020. Jack Mitchell even printed it in the Ledger Dispatch. She does not want to litigate against the city. Instead, I ran for city council because I saw what was happening. As to this lawsuit, it was brought up in 2024 suddenly by Mayor Rhodes, years after the fact, and I again tried to settle it. And I was told every single time to drag it out, that we're going to drag it out. They were going to drag it out until Mayor Rhodes got control of the council. So they're the ones who want to go to court. I've offered settlement. They refuse. This council here, who the majority of them were not here in 2020, feel that they know best, that they know better for you, that spending tens of thousands of dollars is in your best interest. So, as you heard Mr. Lee the last council meeting, he wants to go to trial. He made that very clear. He wants to go to trial. So apparently that's where we're going to go. As far as their settlement offers, it was pay us or else. Every single response was pay up or else. And those are all in writing. Every single one. Starting with Mr. Rock, going to Sophia Meyer, going to White Brenner. Mediation, the first time it was mediation that they offered, they picked
30 seconds.
the mediator. It was Tom Sweat, who does business with the city. Not that I have anything against Tom, but it's a little familiar when they continue to pick people that favor the city, like their investigator on the censure, who was a co-partner and mentor of the last city attorney, Mr. Miles. How many seconds do I have left, Mr.?
Time is up. Any more public comment?
I appreciate that.
Anybody else? Okay.
I guess this is going to become a normal thing.
Okay, let's move on to approval agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Any announcements or presentations? None? Okay, on the public comment, I would like to read, this is, so we make sure I did before. Please be mindful of the 4-minute time limit per person pursuant to the Brown Act. The city council may not take action or engage in a detailed discussion on an item that does not appear on the agenda. However, matters that require council action will be referred to staff for a report and/or recommendation for possible action at a future council meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council at this time? Please go to the podium. Thank you.
Public comment.
For non-agenda items.
Okay. I just have, again, Marcia Edick, I'm sorry. A couple of questions in regard to the status of financial reports. We've just entered the third quarter of this fiscal year and we haven't had any. Wondering if and when one might be coming. And I also have a question about the audits. I think, and I didn't have time to go back and look, they're not actually audits. It's a modified audit kind of thing, that an abbreviated one, which could be done quicker. And I think there were going to be a couple of them. And I thought those were going to be done by April. And of course, this is the last meeting of April and we don't have those. But I also remember, I think it was in the first Tuesday meeting of February, Andrea said that we would have those items in the next couple of meetings. But now we're going into May. We don't have these modified audits or any information as to when we might be seeing them, and we don't have any financial reports. I'm also curious as to the status of the new and improved protocol manual. You know, the one that was so critical where, you know, the mayor directed the city attorney to do it without council approval. And $6,000 or $7,000 later, we find out, oh, it's already been done. And it was so critical, apparently a talking point when White Brenner was brought on board. And we haven't had anything on it since February. So not sure where that stands, if it's been put on the back burner, maybe because of the Ledger Dispatch opinion piece, or what's going on. But at some point, could we get a staff report, something posted on the city's website as to, you know, where these matters stand? Because I'm not the only one who's interested in knowing. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Rhodes.
Yes, I'd like to know, Larry Rhodes, I'd like to know, I've heard rumors that they're gonna start Village 10. Is there anything to that? I don't know. I guess people are surveying and it's heard they're gonna put 100 homes, but I think was 53 over there, but I'm certain. But I just wondered if they're gonna actually start Village 10. They have to put the culvert pipe in, not a bridge, a culvert pipe in on Mule Creek. To do that, and they have to have an egress and ingress, but I just wondered if it's gonna start, because that was okay, God, years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anjija.
Good evening, council members, city staff, and community members. My name is Patricia Anjija, and I live on Castle Oaks Drive. Betrayed. Betrayed is the word that first came to mind when I witnessed the city council members discuss and approve the easement for CDCR last meeting, with the exception of Vice Mayor Rhodes, who seemed to have only voted no because of the consideration or the construction of an antenna that was previously said that wouldn't be done. Because he was very adamant about voting yes, and then it came up and seemed to be the only reason to vote no. I'm just so confused as to how, for those of you who deny any sort of wrongdoing by CDCR, as to how the AWA easement got voted down with wanting all sorts of things like rate decreases and other unrelated items, and yet the easement for CDCR got seemingly no backlash whatsoever. So where are the hoops for CDCR to jump through? Or at least, why aren't they being made to answer for their decades of documented pollution and contamination of our community? Now, I know some of you may not view the Ledger Dispatch or other news articles as relevant or pertinent sources, but there was a $2.5 million settlement from the Water Board. So that in and of itself shows that they have done wrongdoing in the past. So maybe the council members privy to an apology and amends CDCR has made, but publicly I have seen none, especially with their most recent I assume hazardous and illegal dumping in April 2025, as that has yet to be investigated or proven one way or the other, even being questioned or addressed by the council. For those of you who have been adamant that CDCR has been doing wrong, how is that showing any goodwill to our townspeople? Regardless of their dumping being the cause of many illnesses and cancers we have seen in both incarcerated and civilian populations, CDCR has still done illegal dumping or have had significant water line failures causing cross-contamination of clean water lines and wastewater lines. That was shown in the settlement with the water board, not just in newspaper articles. What and how has the city, not the water board, made CDCR answer for this? What connections have you made with these agencies to have them answer for what they've done? A rate increase for their use of wastewater treatment facilities should be a given. That is in the contract. They use the wastewater treatment facility, so they should be paying into it. This is not an apology for their contamination of our town. Where is the actual apology? Where is their clean track record to give us any faith that they won't continue to poison people? Illegally dumping into the Mule Creek in April 2025 is not showing us good intentions. So why, instead of working to shut down the prison or at least hold them accountable, because that would probably never happen, is this council waiting to buddy up with them, wanting to buddy up with them? Disappointed and betrayed. That is what I am in every single one of you.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comment, please? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. We have, okay.
Waited to see if one of them were coming up. Real quick, I just thought as a suggestion, to get on, because a lot of the questions we have, I think a lot of people have and they don't get addressed. I know they said when they set up the agenda that it's the mayor, the city attorney and city manager, but at one point they said any two council members could get something put on the agenda as well. So maybe when they go around the horn at the end on councilman comments, if you guys could, if you wanted to try to get something on the agenda, all it takes is two of you to get it on there. From what Josh had said previously, maybe we could get some of these things on there so we could actually get answers. Otherwise, we're at basically three people's. And if they decide they don't want to tell us, like our city manager's told us he's not going to show us financials and stuff. He just doesn't do that for you guys or us. We're running blind on some of this stuff, other than when we talk to Andrea when she gets up, because she'll actually answer our questions. I just thought it might be something that if two of you could get together on some of these things. I know we've been asking for 6 months on the censure, how much that cost us. I brought up the George's Park, I don't know how many times now, and every time I go by, there's more trash there. The grass is taller. I don't know if we're doing anything with that, but if we're not, maybe we could sell it and make some money on it or something if it's not being used. Just things like that I think we all want in our own way to get answers on, that if two of you said you wanted to hear it and asked for it, maybe we could get it on some of these so we could start flushing that out. Because I right or wrong on that closed session, it was just nice to hear that all the things that I had been mentioning, mediation, I didn't know you'd done any mediation. So I apologize. If there was mediation done, I apologize. Not knowing, I'm just assuming it wasn't happening. All I heard was lawsuit. So I apologize for that. I just didn't know. So that kind of stuff, if we could communicate a little bit better, I think would go a long way to get some of these lists pared down. So that's what I have.
Do we have anybody on Zoom? Just anybody else? What else on public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Item I, information items. We have the fire department monthly report and the wastewater treatment plant department monthly report for March of 2026. All matters listed under this category are for information only with no action to be taken by the city council. J is the consent calendar. We have 2 items tonight: approval of the minutes from April 7th, 2026, and the warrants through today, April 21st, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'd like to pull 2 items, please, before we do that.
I would as well, just one.
Which one would you like to pull?
Both, 1 and 2.
Okay. Make a motion to approve, to allow that.
Take the minutes first.
Okay, let's take the minutes first. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I just want to thank whoever it is, the staff, Janice and Jesse, for getting the minutes out in a record time. Don't think I've ever seen it done this fast, so thank you very much. And there are,
Jesse.
don't want to burst your balloon, but there are a lot of minutes from last year, I think, that we're still waiting on. But anyway, thank you very much. And you did say last year also that you might put a link up there on the website, like Sutter Creek does, copy them, where you have the agenda, the package, and the minutes. And that way, if you're trying to find the minutes, if I know some people try and do that, you got to look for 6 months, either side of the meeting to find the minutes. So if that can happen, that would be great. And that's basically it. I just wanted to thank you guys for getting the minutes out. So thank you.
Want to go on the warrants? Warrants also? Mr. Allen?
Warren, sure.
They take I would do public comment and take a vote on this
Oh, yeah.
one now that you pulled
A
it.
comment on the minutes, please. Okay,
Public comment.
close public comment. Thank you. We're going to move on to the warrants.
Take a motion on the minutes.
I'll make a motion, we
I thought
approve the
I
minutes.
thought we could do them both together, no?
You pulled them.
Oh, we pulled both of them, so we have to do them individually? Okay.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have first and second on the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
We have four, it passes. Okay, we're gonna go to the warrants now. Mr. Allen, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'm just, you know me, I'm always looking at roll order. Looks like it's still pretty high, even though we have brand new sprinkler system and we eliminated Picnic Hill, still 2818. I'm concerned about that. Don't want to beat it up, but I'm watching it. That's on page 1. I noticed about a month ago, there's a flag. Now I'm on page 4. $3,000 flag we bought for something. I didn't say anything because it was like, I don't want to be accused of being a heretic. You know, you're buying a US flag and I'm going to complain about it. So I said nothing. But now I see we got a credit for $2,700. So I think that's a lot of money for flag. But just want to know how it gets bought 1 month and then hopefully it got returned, you know. But I saw that. There seems to be a lot of spending going on PD and Public Works. Andrea gave us this evening, there's a loan for a ride-in lawnmower. And I'm like, I don't remember getting a loan for a ride-in lawnmower for Public Works. So that we just got that. It's not in the agenda. So like an explanation on that. And there's also, brought this up before, there are police CCTV cameras, $1,500 a month. We got a 1-year lease on that. That's what we were told. And now it's been over 2. And then I was told by Mr. Lee that the lease is more than a 1-year lease. And it's like, well, I didn't see that and I didn't vote on it. So I'd like to see that lease. I'd also like a report back on, is that camera worth $1,500 a month? I mean, is it stopping crime? We got it to stop vandalism at Howard Park. And, you know, I'd like some feedback. If we need to keep that camera going for another year or another 2 years, fine. But I mean, pretty soon we should have just bought one if we're going to keep it for 3 years. So there's that one. And then finally, there's who is Sarah Scatina?
She's the Parks and Rec person that's replacing Selena right now, correct?
Okay, so I don't know.
She's part-time. She's not replacing Selena, but Selena's on leave right now. I actually gave her notice and she's been helping out down there at the
Okay,
Parks and Rec. So she's
so
been
Selena's left and we have someone else. Okay.
She was always there.
Was she? Okay. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Lefane?
Yeah, the questions on the credit card. So are we paying all the expenses to run the arena? Mr. Lee?
We think?
Yes.
Yes.
Contract.
We are? So we're paying for the printer. Somebody wants to use the printer at the arena in the office. We're paying for all of that. True? Okay. And that's included all these expenses that are being put on the credit card by, I don't know who's using it. That goes into the monthly budget as an expense, correct? Okay, so that would include the flags. Well, there's quite a bit here. And then we purchased a gazebo for Picnic Hill. I'd like a ballpark figure of what we've spent so far on Picnic Hill. We see a lot coming in. We've never seen an actual plan that encompasses or a budget for Picnic Hill. Also, I'll get to my comments. I had requested the contract for Telstar. That contract's got to be at least 5 years old. It's 13 grand this month. I won't go through Ace Hardware. Yeah, I see we're buying tools also for the arena, shovels, rakes, tape measures, distilled water. So I would hope we've given the arena a budget. Here's an air freshener for the arena. That's kind of funny. And then what's the last one? Weber Geo. For the building plan for the police department was $3,600. Is that going to the police department's budget?
I believe so, yes.
You believe so? Okay. So they're doing a little more than building inspection. West Jost, Wildflower. I think that's it so far. Oh, last one. Arena sponsor sign, we paid Gold Country Marketing $950. How many signs is that?
How many sides are those?
How
Andy?
much do we sell the signs for?
And that's for the, Santa Claus report, I think that's almost,
20 of them, I believe, 15 or 20, right?
yeah.
Sam said 14.7 at his last presentation.
Right.
Okay, so we pay $950 and we charge $1,000.
That's for all the signs. Not for each sign, it's for all the signs.
For one sign?
First, that's all the fun.
That's for 14 signs.
We charge 1,000 and that covers 14 signs.
Okay, and then last, Rainy Planning and Management. Who's this?
That's the interim planning
Interim planning what?
to offer planning services. If you recall, Miss Peters resigned.
I
And
do
to have-
recall Ms.
to have
Peters
some
resigned because you
continuity.
blamed it on me.
Yeah, so to have some continuity.
So the
Interface.
council, I don't recall a contract coming before this council.
It's under my purview of 15,000.
It's not a procurement service. It's a specialty service.
Gosh.
It'll come to you once it hits before it hits 15,000.
Contracts are 5,000 for the city manager.
That's
It
not-
says it in the policy. If you see,
Policy is outdated. We go by the ordinance.
so how much of the policy is outdated then?
A lot of it.
Okay, so when do we choose to follow it and when do we not choose?
We
to?
follow the ordinance, chapter 2.44. Goods and services up to 15,000 budgeted.
But why?
We've gone over this many times.
Excuse me, why do it this way? Why wait till you get to 15 before you bring a
Because
contract?
we are in the process of putting out an RFP for the planner.
But
So,
yeah, we
again,
haven't gotten
so-
that one out.
Right. And so, we can't let things just sit and wait.
But Wildan has city planners and so does Weber Gio.
Again, they're not always responsive. And you can ask the staff how responsive they are.
I know, I've heard. Okay, so as soon as Mr. Rainey hits 15,000, what happens
Comes to you for approval for a contract
for him?
for their firm, for their planning services.
Hopefully, we get the,
So you
RFP.
handpicked him or was he referred or
He was referred by Susan Peters.
referred by Susan Peters?
Right.
Okay, well, that is a violation of our bidding and procurement policy, but
Disagree.
of course you do. It's a government code.
Are we gonna, let's move, let's keep, we're getting to the argument stage. Let's stay away from that.
Well,
What you're concerned about with the warrants.
tell me how to ask my questions, Mayor. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to speak on the warrants? Mr. Mitchell, how about public comment on the warrants? Do we have a motion to approve the warrants?
Make a motion to approve the warrants.
Second.
We have first and second the warrants. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
So moved. Okay, we move on now to public hearing, which we have none. We do not have one. Let's move on to the regular agenda. We have 4 items tonight. And we're first up is we're going to receive and provide direction on drafted schedule for fiscal year 2027 budget. If you look in your packet, or those of you who have a packet, you'll see where we have it and what Andrea has drawn up as far as our drafted schedule to get our budget done on time. So go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So yes, I provided a draft schedule. Mind you, it's a very tight schedule. And mostly what I wanted to do is provide direction. We had some comments last year regarding council input on the budget, and also I wanted to make sure that that was the amount of meetings you guys wanted to have and when you would provide your input and when we'd have it approved. You'll notice it comes after July 1st because I don't think with the audits going on, there's any way we can make it any tighter. This is already a tight schedule that we're going to try our best to hit. So basically what I'm looking for direction is if this is the process you want to follow for the budget. I have it listed very similar to last year to where we'd have basically 2 budget workshops where you provide, so staff would come up with the initial draft budget because there's some things that just have to be. So we create that framework, and then from there is where we get direction from council or where they would like to see the funds spent. And we have 2 opportunities for council and for the public, and then it would come to the council for the final adoption, which would be at that second meeting in July.
You probably mentioned this, but the current schedule has the workshops on regular council meeting days also.
Yeah, so last year, we were going to do a special meeting and it was decided to do it during a regular council meeting. So that's up to council if you guys want it during regular council meetings or if you want to set something different.
Okay, thank you.
I would rather see a workshop. A workshop is more informal. It's not good. We're not going to be pressed for time. We're not going to mix it with other items that are on the agenda and everybody gets tired and they just want to get it over with. We've had workshops in the past. We've had workshops on a Saturday. We come in the morning, we knock out 4 hours, we decide what we're going to revisit. I would be for that. Making it on a weeknight seems less productive.
Okay, anybody else? Some questions for Andrea? I have one in a moment, but
I have none, but like the way it is.
Councilman Atwood? No, I think to me, it looks good at this point. I think we should do that. I was going to ask you if you could give us an update as far as the audits since we're on this topic regarding the budget.
Yeah, so actually, you'll see there's also the listing of the financial reports, which we've been working on since we're now almost to April. It makes sense just to bring that one to you directly when we do our first meeting, which I think is next month. And then for the audits, the 2022 has been finished, as it was stated, it was going to be finished in April. It's in the final review, and Larry Bain will be here on May 5th in the meeting to provide, he'll be coming for a Zoom call to provide the update. They've been here, they started here on the 23-24 audit in the audit room. They'll be here all week. They came in Monday, so we already started the 23-24 audit that we will be hitting hot and heavy for the next 6 months. So, and the 2020, the limited procedures audits for 21, 22, 22, 23, those will be presented at May 5th via Zoom.
Thank you.
So they're doing their final review.
Thank you. We just want to get a brief update so people can see where we're at this stage. We're not going to go into detail and everything. So, thank you, Andrea. We'll open it up for public comment.
Council comments first,
We can do that after public comment.
usually first. Okay.
I did. You already spoke. Then I went around the rest of them.
Just wanted to know if this is just an operating budget.
Okay, any public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment. Anybody want to make a motion on how they want to move forward on this budget schedule?
I'll make a motion. We move to approve the schedule that Andrea put before us.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second on this action. Go ahead and approve the budget schedule for fiscal year 26-27. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, next we're going to go up to number 2 is adoption of resolution number 2026-09, approving and authorizing execution of employment agreement for Police Chief John Alfred.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we discussed last council meeting in the closed session, Mr. Alfred's contract ends in June of 2026. He requested a 3-year extension with no increase in pay. A 5-year extension with no increase in pay. But the council decided to move forward with 3 years and authorize us to move forward in working the contract up. So here it is. My recommendation is to approve the contract for 3 years. Any questions?
Any questions for
Myself or Josh?
Yes,
If I
Josh?
could just update there are some revisions, although it is substantially similar, but just on some of the key provisions are there's a built-in 2.5% increase after 10 years of service. And on the severance, if it's terminated because of disability and undue hardship, that would be severance of 6 months. If it's terminated without cause, the severance would be equal to a maximum of 18 months. But if it's within 18 months left of his term, it's the number of months left on the contract. So those are some of the financial provisions that are built in to the contract.
Do you have any council comments, please?
I have none.
Councilmember LaFane?
18 months.
That was what was in his previous contract.
I know that we seem to hand that out. I'm sorry. 18 months is excessive. Rock was 6 months.
Glad you.
And this council, or the prior council, got hammered for 6 months. And lately, we seem to hand out 18-month severance like it's no big deal. I just can't believe how the taxpayers are just disregarded with these contracts. Completely disregarded. 18 months, a year and a half. You're okay with that, Mr. Ferinsky, as the city attorney? You think that's in the best interest of the taxpayers?
We all voted on it. You weren't there.
I'm not speaking to you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
It was in his previous contract, but that's on the longer.
I didn't see his previous contract. That got slid through.
It's on the longer end of what
Okay.
I'm accustomed to.
It seems to be the custom of White Brenner. Since White Brenner has
Well, now you're-
arrived.
now
We're not topic. We're getting off topic now.
Now you're just
Just
now,
off topic.
like what I'm saying.
no, now you're just smearing and making things up, but that's fine.
You've written 2 contracts for staff,
Georges and Chiefs.
right? Both 18 months. That's all I'm saying.
It was
Done.
those were
Thank
in the
you.
existing ones when we took it up.
Councilmember Atlan.
Yes, I have a couple of comments, but I want to, before I say anything, this is not about an individual person. This is about the contract, the terms, and the position. So, because just want to put that out there. I'm at a point where I don't know if I should say anything
Right.
because I'll probably get attacked, but unfortunately, I just can't help myself. So I'm going to say it. I got no problem with the chief wanting to extend his contract, but what happened 2 weeks ago was there was a brief discussion and it was offer the contract out. There was no opportunity for the council to be involved in this contract at all. The only time we saw this contract is right now, just like you guys. So we've had no input, no, well, what do you think? 18 months too much? Too little, whatever. There's some things in there that are good. He had a $1,000 457, which is a deferred comp package, and that got cut down to 300. That's good. Okay. Getting a little bit out of order here. I asked for the contract. I actually gave the contract to George 2 weeks ago, the existing contract, and I had a couple of questions. Number one was the only person that can give the police chief, we don't have very much power up here. I know you like to, a lot of people like to beat us up, but we have very little power. Okay. We don't get to direct staff. We don't get to make decisions. That's fine. The only one we do get is the contract of the police chief. We don't get to pick the police chief. We just get the compensation package, which is usually part of a contract. That's it. So I'm kind of like a little bit disappointed that we don't even, the one thing that we're allowed to do of all the staff here is we don't even get to do that. It's take this contract or leave it. And so I'm disappointed in that. The police contract that is current was 4/4/2023. Okay. And in there, it has the terms and it has the pay. And I'm going to read them to you. The severance package, according to the contract, so Mr. Vrinsky is wrong, is 6 months. You can go grab it. Someone could grab it if they want. But I read it as 6 months. So the severance package is 6 months, according to the contract that we voted in. And if there's another one, I asked for, is there another one? I asked for it, didn't get anything. In that contract, the parties agreed to extend that contract, that existing contract, by 2 years. That's in there, section 2. So if it's going to essentially be that contract gets extended for 2 more years, and it very little changes. And of course, that isn't happening. The salary of that contract was $105,824, but 2 weeks ago, we were told that the position gets paid $154,000. And so I said, so when did that happen? Because as I just told you, the council is the ones that get to set the pay, set the contract. So I asked for that. When did that happen again? And again, this was not George, so I don't think that'll be enough on George. This was all done before George got here. But I did ask for that contract and got nothing, got zero. There were supposed to be evaluations done in order for the position to get raises, and there should have been 3 done. And as far as the documents returned to me, there was 1. So that existing contract hasn't been followed. There's a new, so this one here, I can vote for 18 months, and I'm glad someone brought up Rock. Rock got 6 months, okay? We got crucified over 6 months. mostly by the guys in the corner there, absolutely crucified for giving the city manager a 6-month severance agreement, 6 months. And now 18 and nobody blinks an eye. So on that alone, if I had been asked for some input, well, what do you think? I think I'd be voting for a new contract today with a few modifications. Like I say, there's one thing in there that I really do like, but there's a couple of things in there I don't like. And so I can't approve this contract. And hopefully the person doesn't take it personally. It's just the way the contract was done. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. Any more council comments? Anybody on, we're gonna go move to public comment. Anybody on Zoom? Yes. Okay, public comment?
I just have a quick question. Does even senior citizens get an escalation for inflation and stuff? Does he at least get that in there? You're saying the same salary for 3 years. There's no bump if inflation goes up or anything. I mean, he could be at a net loss in 3 years over what he's making today. So just a thought. It seemed like you'd at least have an inflation in there, but I agree with the 6 months. If you lose a job, you can find another job in 6 months. 18 months seems to be abusive to me, but that's my own personal opinion.
Mr. Rhodes?
It seems like a councilman brought up something, and I'd like to mention that Sophia Myers give Mr. Hankin full medical without even in demand that this accuse me of doing things, voted for it. So yeah, the protocol manual hit in it. You got total medical. Thank you.
Good evening again, everyone. I will agree that 18 months does seem very excessive. I don't recall any position being given a severance like that. I think it's interesting. I don't recall this ever being brought to city council. So that is a bit concerning that it's now in the final contract stage. The contracts, let's see. It does say that the 18 months is for when it's without cause. So I guess the city should just make sure that if that were ever to happen, that it's with cause. But I do agree that more negotiation should have been done with the city council if that is in their purview of having to review it first. And I think it'd be best to maybe discuss this in a broader lens, like Mr. Atlan was saying about not making it just based on Chief Alfred, but all positions. Is the city in the position of ever granting an 18-month severance for any employee? Or do we need to scale it back based on our, budget and things like that? Thank you.
Mr. Aguilera?
I have to say this, Dominic, I never said a word about Rock. The only thing I ever said is you voted for Rock to buy the building next door over here that's falling apart. No, I think 18 months is good because I'm tell you why. If you get a new council and somebody on the council's got a friend like we've had here, done here before, we got rid of city managers, we've got rid of a lot of people. So somebody on the city council has talked other people into getting rid of them, so we get rid of them. So this way, if we get somebody on the city council that don't like our chief and they fire him, gonna get 18 months without any reason at all. Because we've had people, city managers, and we've had all kinds of people fired for no reason at all, and we've got away with it, but we got one coming up that we're not gonna get rid of. It's pretty bad lawsuit, so I think 18 months is good. If you gotta have if you have a cause and fire him, you don't get 18 months, right? What's he get if you fire him and you don't have no cause? He doesn't get it.
None.
So I think it's good protection for our chief of police because he's doing a good job and he's got a good crew. So I'm glad it's kind of protecting us by keeping a good chief for a while. Because we went through city managers because certain people don't like them, and like we got rid of one and we had another one waiting at the door to come in, the back door to come in before the other one. We even went out the front door. Thank you.
Thank you. Jess, we have anybody on Zoom? Any more public comment? George, you have something to say?
Oh, yeah, I'd just like to give you my own personal comments. I believe in the last council meeting when this contract was discussed, I think every member of the council had an opportunity who was there to give their input. They could have objected, they could have given their comments, but there weren't any. They voted to move forward with it. So this is a result of that. But number two, I think the most important thing is that what the 18th month severance does, it does provide some stability. I think one of the biggest issues that we've had in the past 10 years has been stability of the leadership in department heads. It's been a revolving door. Unless it's something egregious, it's 18 months. But I think that is a huge benefit, in my personal opinion, to the city because it provides stability. And that has been one of the biggest weaknesses of the Ione in the past 10 years. We've had a revolving door. Police chiefs, city managers, finance managers, public works department. So again, the leadership in the department heads roles are extremely important. And I support this wholeheartedly that it will provide stability and it gives the leadership positions a sense of confidence that, hey, their roles are secure and they're not going to be outed out for political reasons.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Jess? Oh, Stacy.
Really quick, I have the pleasure of working with John. He is an exceptional man. He is an exceptional police chief. And he is doing everything that he can to run the city and to help. And I think he deserves everything he gets. I wish he was getting a raise over 3 years, but that's okay. But like I said, you get to know him and his heart goes out to everybody in this room, whether you believe it or not. But he is a good man and he's doing a very hard job. He's also doing many things that weren't done before. I just want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good. More comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Only thing I want to mention, since I haven't given any council comments, is George took my thunder because that's the thing. Reason I like it is because I believe in the stability, and I've lived here my whole life, and we've had a lot of instability in this city hall, and so that's why I'm for this. And that he's done a great job, and I'd like to be able to talk without being talked to, please.
Excuse me?
I'm asking you, please, let me say something without saying anything. Okay. All right, so with that said, does anybody want to make a motion on this
I
item?
just want to make one comment before you do.
Yes.
No police chief, in my recollection, never been fired. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone. I've only been here for 30 years. Right, just all I'm saying is that, the end.
They've been ran off, not fired.
And when was that?
I can,
Just to respond,
that'd be a private thing. I can think of 3 or 4 myself.
to respond to Councilmember Atlin's earlier comment of the contract, it was 6 months for determination because of disability and 18 months for without cause.
In the old contract?
Yeah, poorly written, but that's what it was. The prior contract did not, no.
I'll read it.
No one was here. No one was here then. We weren't here then.
Doesn't make it right.
We agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, can we make a motion on this, please? Anybody like to make a motion?
We already know who's going to.
We'll make the motion for the adoption of resolution number 2026-09, approving and authorizing execution of employment agreement for Police Chief John Alfred.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose?
No,
Nope.
based on the contract,
Just on the contract, except.
nothing else.
Okay, let's move on to number 3. So this is passed. Mr. Alfred will be with us for another 3 years. Number 3, approved contract for shade sales and construction of handicap parking at Picnic Hill. Mr. Lee.
Well, hopefully all of you were able to attend our open house this past Saturday. It was a a pretty good success. I think Mr. Borges is going to give his comments during his public comment period. But one of the things that was an ongoing process was the constantly changing time frame of the completion of the park. The shade structure had to be sized to fit all the perfect dimensions. There was a lot of weather issues. We didn't know when the shades were going to be completed. So, I made the decision to go ahead to authorize the purchase of the shades subject to the city council approval. Similar situation with ADA parking. I know it was a big issue in the past regarding ADA parking. We felt that if we were going to have an open house in the future, especially with the homecoming coming up, we thought it was very important to have that ADA parking because it was mentioned so many times in the past that that was extremely lacking in the past. We've had a lot of issues from complaints from the residents that there's no ADA parking, so we felt that was paramount. So that's one of the reasons why, again, everything was changing. It was in flux all the time with weather issues. And so, again, I made the decision to go ahead to do it while we had a window open. So I recommend that we approve the payment of the shades and the construction of the ADA parking. These estimates were given by Mr. Thomas Borge.
Okay, council comments. Who would like to?
I have some clarifying questions on your staff report. You said that all of the grant funds from Amador Water and Department Water Regional Board have been allocated to the turf replacement project.
Allocated.
And irrigation project.
Allocated, yes.
So, but you submitted $965,000 worth of reimbursables to AWA on Picnic Hill.
Correct. And they're in the process of being reimbursed, yes.
So the grant funds weren't allocated to the turf project
They were.
They're the same.
and irrigation.
They're the same.
Okay, so you're saying the turf project is not the soccer because,
It's a turf project. It's
so
irrigation
you
system at
installed
Howard Park.
turf where?
We just installed turf. It's a turf replacement.
Okay.
I think I can.
So that was $965,000, correct?
Yes.
Do we have any idea where we're at with this Picnic Hill project?
I believe we're going to give a complete accounting when we get reimbursed from the Amador Water Agency through the Department of Water.
Thought we'd been reimbursed.
No, it's in the process. We submitted our
It's okay, Andrea. I
reimbursement.
asked, I think in January, and you said we had been reimbursed.
We
at
had been
least.
reimbursed on one invoice.
All right, that was my only question because the first sentence was very confusing. So I'll go ahead and let the rest of the council and wait till the public.
Okay, who would like to speak? Anybody else? Mr. Allen?
Yeah, this is kind of confusing. This looks like an add-on, shade sales and handicap parking. How is handicap parking not a requirement? I mean, we'll get sued if we don't have handicap parking. So
Well, that's one of the reasons why I had to
I
make
get
the
that.
decision. Because
I'm just
again,
saying that what I would have liked is, of course, we're going to have to put some money into this project, but we got $1 million for most of it, which is great. But I would like to have been told what we're going to spend on this project, like at the start, instead of every couple of months, we got to approve, an invoice. The other thing is, so the 26,870 doesn't mention anything about shade sales in the proposal. So the 26,870 is for shade sales and the concrete work, because in the proposal it's just the concrete work.
it's two separate cases, two separate things. I think the shades should be in there. If
I don't
not,
have for shades.
I will get it to you, but it was in there.
How much is the shades?
It's about 26,000, I believe.
And so how much was the concrete?
23.
Because all I've got is concrete, 26,000.
I believe Mr. Borge has
All right.
a
So
comment.
I'm sorry to ask these questions. I'm not trying to trick anybody up. I just didn't see it on there. Anyway, that's it. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
And by the way, the sales are temporary. The sales are temporary to be there until the grapevines grow over the iron. So it should be about 2 to 3 years.
Okay, Mr. Councilmember Mitchell, do you have anything? Any comments from Vice Mayor Rhodes? I have nothing on it. So open it up for public comment.
Dave Johnson, so when I looked at this, there was a Susan Peters from the planning that said ADA was included in the grant agreement. So I don't know why we're taking additional monies. And then on top of that, I went by there the other day. We're asking for approval on something that's already been done. So George signed this deal. He's only supposed to have 15,000. So I don't know if he talked to any of you guys in private, but he signed a contract for $26,700 to do this on March 17th. So this project is already in and done. So it's the cart before the horse again. This is ask for, do what you want to do and then ask for forgiveness later. But I have pictures of all this stuff. The awnings are in, the parking is done, the concrete's been poured. And as far as I could tell in the original proposal, this was all supposed to be included. Now we're asking for an additional 26 here, 26 there. And if you look at for me, I guess, I went out and looked at the work, and I don't mean to be slamming anybody, but I could have done that. It's zip ties like you got them from Harbor Freight. This is not professionally installed awnings right now. They're zip tied at the corner. Those pipes have not been painted. They're just bare pipe right now. And even the lights look like you got them from Costco. They're zip tied in too. So it hasn't been professionally mounted yet. And Thomas may be able to tell us that, hey, he's going to come back and visit that later. But the bigger issue that I have is before the city manager signs a contract for over $15,000 and has this work done, now he's coming to you later to say, hey, can you guys get me out of jail here? I did something over my limit. Josh knows the limit. We just talked about it a few minutes ago, 15,000. This is 26,000 that he signed. This job is done. The awnings are done. They were up there for the music. So this isn't something you're approving for a future date. The work's already been done. So, and at least from what I could read in the Susan Peters from planning, she was making the comment that this ADA was supposed to be in the 965. So why we're paying additional for this, I don't know. In contract law, Jody, you've done landscaping. If I put out a bid and that's what it is, I have to honor that, whether I lose money or not. If I get the winning bid, so I don't know if we're trying to bail somebody out or we're trying to get some extra money, but an extra $52,000 on top of the 965 that was already in the plan seems a little wild to me. But you guys may know better. Like I say, I went out there. Even if you look at the pipes that are lined on the road, they look like they're oil drill pipes because you can still see the threads on them. Like somebody poured the concrete, threw some bags in there. Those pipes are rusting right now, and they're not cut to the right height. Like maybe City Works did. I don't know who did the work, but it doesn't look like a professional contractor or licensed contractor did the work. The parking stuff definitely does. I mean, I'm not knocking that at all. The concrete works good, the paint's good, but the way these awnings are up there right now, it's just black zip ties right now. And I would expect some kind of UV nylon or something woven through there so it'll handle weather and stuff. But
30 seconds.
That's what I saw. I would hope you guys could get this in the 965. If somebody signed a contract, I think you have to hold them to it. It was in the original deal, according to that lady.
Okay, any more public comment?
Good evening again. Dave covered some of my same questions. So I have a few points. Yes, there is this memo from Susan Peters, former city planner, dated August 12th. And in the second paragraph, it says that the proposed improvements include blah, 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 and installation of ADA compliant parking and pathways. So that's on page 1. And then at the bottom of page 2, she said as described above, the proposed project consists of construction of amphitheater and ADA accessible parking and pathways. So if that's the case, and that was part of the grant money, why do we need to hire a company to come in and do it? Because it was already provided for according to Ms. Peters. That's number one. Secondly, starting on page 54 in the agenda packet is Mr. Lee's staff report, and he references that approved this shade installation and construction of the ADA parking. There's no proposal for shades, shade sales, I guess. Obviously, they're already up. Dave has photos. So I don't know where that estimate is. Who did it? When? At what cost? And who authorized it? And again, back to the other question, there is a contract here attached to Mr. Lee's staff report. It's JSG Concrete. The date of the contract is March 16th. And on the second page, it's in the amount of $26,870. On page 2, there's a signature line. It is signed. I presume it's George, dated 3/17. And at the bottom, it says subject to city council approval. Well, it never made it to city council if in fact the work's already been done, right? And it's $26,000. But more importantly, or equally important, again, is the fact that if that was part of the grant agreement and this 960 some odd $1,000, why did we need to pay for it if it was already covered? Hopefully we can get some answers to those questions. I realize we don't, but I think this is an extenuating situation. And Mr. Lee has offered information. There is some discrepancy in regard to what's contained in the agenda, the lack of the information regarding the shade sales, why we needed to hire JSG, who gave him authorization to do it, and what happened to the money that was from the grant that should have covered that. Thank you.
Jess, we have Zoom. You can go ahead on Zoom, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Heather Conklin from West Marlette. I just want to say thank you, George, and the city council members for supporting the amphitheater. And Mr. Borge, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Thank you for all your hard work and creativity building this beautiful venue. Also, thank you to everyone who helped out along the way. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows Deborah Mackey was the grant writer who worked on this project for over 2 years, and Andrea Bonham was right by her side assisting. They put a lot of hard work into this. I just want to say thank you for the beautiful amphitheater. This is a great thing for our community.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any more? We have more on Zooms, Jess? No, any more public comment? Mr. Borch, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, other members of the City Council, Thomas Borge, Axios Homes, Wildflower Subdivision here in Ione. I wanted to clarify some issues that we, first of all, should probably start by saying it was nice of everyone to come out and enjoy the amphitheater. I think it was a great success. I think that we got the recognition on what we really were trying to accomplish. We met a lot of difficult deadlines under the circumstances with some very inclement weather and trying to keep things tracking in the right direction to receive the grant funds that they're in the process of now. One of the things that came up during the construction was the actual parking lot where the ADA parking is now. And the grade elevation was very significant. A lot of that was supposed to be done when the asphalt was done, but could not reach compliance to go ahead and bring it to ADA compliance. So we actually had to go back and kind of retool the 6 parking spaces, which we were only required to put in 3, but due to the fact that there's no ADA parking in all of Howard Park, the rest of the ADA path travel was constructed during the project and was really a final, kind of the final effort to go ahead and make it all compliant, which we did. So we went back, JSG Concrete was a contractor that we used. They were the ones who actually did all of the concrete throughout the amphitheater. And I figured that it would be the best person to come back and coordinate some of the finishing touches to what they had actually started with at the beginning. So when the contract was signed, I do have to say that it was signed in early March. We did not know what our timing was going to be because we didn't know how much rain there was actually going to be coming either. So we went ahead and I did go ahead and offer the contract for George's approval. And he was not really interested in signing it, but he was saying that it needed to go to city council. And I thought that we would get here before this meeting, but it was full agenda last time and it wasn't brought there. And he signed both the contract for JSG that's part of the packet and then the JS Canvas sunshade contract, which I don't think made to the packet, but that is 25,750. We didn't know if we were tax exempt for the sales tax for the sunshades, so that was maybe some of the mix up. There's a few dollars on top of that based on the sales tax, and JS Canvas was going to be maybe something up to 2 months of producing the shales. They actually all had to be fabricated according to all of the pieces that are actually in the amphitheater. They did go ahead and deliver the sales. We wanted to go ahead and make sure that we could make the inaugural event. So they are temporarily being hung by the zip ties right now. They will be going back. Department of Public Works is going to go back and actually loop in the rope. So they're all roped together on the actual and affixed to the current structure. The piping that's there is not supposed to be painted. It's supposed to rust out like the prototype that we were replicating when it was presented. And we're waiting for the grapevines and the creeping fig to escalate. It'll take a 3 to 4 year process. And really what we were in hopes that we could do is we could get to a point of saying,
I'm sorry, your time's up. I was so interested listening to you so long that, but I think I'd like to offer you more time.
So anyway, really what the situation came to be is the fact that we're going to go back and fix the sales. The canvas sales come with a 5-year warranty. And our hopes was that the sales would be able to last for 5 years in order to go ahead and keep the public from having the 100-degree heat beat down on them, which as we saw in the inaugural event, worked very well. And I think that everybody was appreciative to actually having at least something that was hanging there to kind of get to that point. Back to the parking lot section, we did go ahead and bring into compliance. We do have a very steep grade on one side. I went ahead and offered up a catch fence on one side of the parking lot that I installed at our cost to just donate to the city. We also went ahead and Axios Homes, I wanted to make sure that everything was in compliance and making sure that all the striping and everything was done the correct way. So we went ahead and donated the actual striping through Sierra Grading, which was another almost $8,900. So we donated that to the city also. And one of the things we did learn in the inaugural event is some of the things that we did wrong or some of the things that we're going to need to improve on, which was a great way to experiment how we're going to deal with homecoming. Was we were going to be in a situation where the lines were formed a little bit differently at the snack shack and the drinks, and the food trucks were parked on the ADA path of travel, and those things need to get worked out. But some signage as well as some additional striping for the amphitheater. But I think with those things changing and learning from our mistake, I think that that's really the things that we can do. What we will end up with is a good catalyst to start with, and we would be in a situation where whatever we're going to put into the master plan at Howard Park will be added on to what we've already created. We have some additional bathrooms. We have some additional ADA compliance that we want to go ahead and bring up. But right now, we have an oversized parking lot, which will allow for at least 6 vehicles instead of only 3. And the path of travel will carry us all the way down to Evelyn Bishop Hall. And once we get the gas line that we found that was unexpected in the side hill, we get that fixed and relocated, we can go ahead and finish the path of travel, and we'll come around to the front of Evelyn Bishop Hall, and we'll coordinate ADA parking in front of Evelyn Bishop Hall along with where the parking lot is now, and give everybody a way to get from point A to point B all the way and through the amphitheater and the park area, which was something that we didn't know that we could get all of those things in there, but we've gotten 90% plus in there. And I think that if nothing else, we have a great starting point to go ahead and continue on with the project. So I think that as much as the ADA parking is X amount of dollars more, I think that that's something that also is going to be connecting, going back towards the baseball diamonds, as well as all the way back to Evelyn Bishop Hall, going back towards the arena.
Including in my mind, the playground too, for people, grandparents or whoever wants to
The
bring their children to
the
playground.
ADA, the path
Right
of
there.
travel, the path of travel was made purposely right past both playgrounds and has access within 25 feet. And all wheelchair accessible into the amphitheater and all the way down to the bottom of the hill where Evelyn Bishop Hall is.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or anything?
I can answer whatever questions there are with concerning anything in the amphitheater or Picnic Hill.
I got a quick one, just, so the ADA parking was part of the original project and it was billed as part of the original project, but you subsequently found that it needed more than that to be done, and that's what this is.
Well, the slope on the side hill
Right.
is significant, and we couldn't use asphalt to achieve the compliance.
So it's basically, you had to, on the fly, you had to change what you already did, and so we're not double paying for it. This is something new.
That's
Is that-
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more council comments?
Oh, Mr. Borsch, no.
Okay, thank you, sir. It was a great event. It was beyond my expectations, and there's a few kinks to work out, like Mr. Borge said, but I think they're few, and we have ourselves a winner out there. So I know the vendors did very well also, so thank you, sir.
Really great.
Any more public comment? Anybody on Zoom, Jess? Mr. Rhodes?
I would personally like to thank Mr. Boyd for everything he's done. He's the only developer in here who's ever did anything for the city for free. He's really tried to do this correct, and I kind of get tired of people picking on different things for nothing, but thank you.
Thank you then.
Patricia Anjija, Castle Oaks Drive. It's hard to be between a rock and a hard place, because if you criticize at all, it seems like you're against progress altogether. I was at the Freeze Out concert this past weekend. It was wonderful, and a lot of work did go into it. And it's really going to be good for our city. So I will say that, and I do want to say thank you to Mr. Borges. However, I suppose things, do need to go the right way. They need to be done the right way. And I know there are slip ups and everything. Everyone's human. But when work has been already approved, if it went to plan, then that would explain why the parking and stuff is there. Okay, because that was already decided. But then when, additional things in the scope of work come up where it's an additional $26,000, that would need to go before council, because that's what's in the procedures, that's what's in protocol. And I understand there are emergent situations, but I don't think a grand opening is an emergency. I would say the rain coming down right now, if, the roof caves in, Obviously, that's an emergency situation. Staff would deal with that before getting any sort of city council approval if we can't get together. But, you know, having the parking there wasn't parking there before. It was not paved, it was just gravel. I've taken my kids there multiple times. That pathway, the asphalt pathway between the bigger park and the smaller park and the amphitheater, that's new. You know, I understand things come up, but then if it does go over the limit, that's why these rules exist. If you don't like the rules, then work to change them, that's fine. But, you know, city council is there because we've elected them to work in the best interest and keep the checks and balances between city manager, staff, things like that, and do what's best for our community. So an extra 26,000, it would have been great if that could have been looked into. And it probably should have. And I don't know the procedure for going about, I don't know if there's a reprimand process, but I think that's kind of what a lot of this gets into, you know, and other issues as well, as like things like this happen between either some city staff members or council members where it's obvious out of protocol, out of procedures, but then there's nothing done about it to hold people accountable. So it's like, what's stopping, say, I don't know, Janice from building a mansion for herself? Not saying she will, but if if anything can go, obviously that's, going to the extreme, but sometimes you need to think that way of, what's stopping us from, and I appreciate George and all he's done, but I mean, what if aliens abducted his brain one day and, he's not acting in the best interest or, sanity? You never know what's going to happen. You never know who someone's going to be Tuesday versus Wednesday. So it's just to protect the city and our taxpayers. So thank you.
All right.
Just real quickly, Mr. Borge, there you are. Thank you for providing that additional context, which of course wasn't in our packet, so we didn't know.
You've already spoke on this topic.
I was addressing what Mr. Borge said. No? Okay.
That's okay. Anyone else? Okay. Anybody, Jess? No.
We need to put a podium in the back corner for the old guys.
You're gonna be there someday. You're getting there. Oh, I just want to thank the Amador Water Company for getting us the grant. Nobody's thanked them. They're the ones that got us the money. And I want to thank everybody else for doing a good job. And sometimes when you do something, it takes more money than you plan. You know that, like when you go to the grocery store and you fill your cart up and you get up there and say, oh shit, it's more than I thought, So George is doing a good job. Everybody's doing a good job. The attorney. And all I can say is thank the Waterworks for getting us the grant. And the contractor that did it, thank him. But he probably, I don't know if he made any money or not. That's the main thing. And George is doing a good job, George. I don't care if they keep beating you up. I still think you're doing a good job. And it's the best thing that ever happened to Ione. We have something out there for people to go enjoy now, instead of soccer and baseball and all that stuff. This way we can have some good old music again in Ione. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, nobody? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Okay. We'll go ahead and entertain a motion, I guess.
Usually we have council comments at this point.
Well, we've been more than happy to allow you to, of course, you can have council comments.
Usually the process.
I don't, please, just go ahead and speak. You want to have them or not?
That's the process. It's not, I'm not making.
I'm asking you if you would like to make council comments.
I asked if it was time for council comments. That's all. I'll try to make it quick.
Take your time.
Okay, I'll take my time. This project should have started at Parks and Rec, bottom line. For Parks and Rec to do all of the due diligence, put together an RFP, a professional RFP, put down the scope of work. You send it out you get proper bids, and then you have a budget. Then you know how much you're going to spend. Then you can have something to follow through the entire process of the build. You budget an amount for it, and then there are no surprises because you have people out there doing the job. Now I sound like somebody, anyway. But Parks and Rec was bypassed on this. And all of it came to the council in piecemeal, one thing at a time. So I look at this as an administrative failure. I'm not putting anything against the amphitheater itself, but it's been the way it's been handled. We have no idea how much this has cost us. None. There are bits and pieces in the warrants. How many times has this project come to this council for additional money? So I'm an advocate of RFPs in the process, because that's how you stop things like this from happening. So you're coming to us at this point for another 27,000. Do you know where that money's coming from?
Parks and Recreation Fund.
Oh, the Parks and Recreation Fund? We haven't seen a budget, so that's not something we have in front of us or that's been presented in front of us. And I've never seen one go to the Parks and Rec Committee.
You can vote no.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're here to approve or not approve the shade installation of shade shells. Councilman Atlam, would you like to speak, please?
What, the shade sales or everything?
Whatever you want to say.
What are we voting on, Mr. Vrinsky?
Stay on topic.
It's up to the motion, but you can vote on one or two. I think staff is asking for approval of both items.
Both. Yeah, I'm trying to get to yes, but I just can't. The slope, the ground was the ground. The ground didn't change in 6 months. I mean, if somebody could have seen that asphalt wasn't going to work, and they should have at that time come to us and said, hey, this isn't going to work. We're going to need an extra 26,000. And I would have said, absolutely do it. And if someone had said, when I went out there, I thought someone's going to have to put shade sails up because this is going to bake everybody. And that should have been put in the budget as well. And if it was put in the budget, I would have voted yes. But where we're at now, it's already done. I don't even know why you need my vote. It's already done. So I think I'm just going to, I'm going to just pass completely on this whole thing.
You want to speak, Andrew?
I just want to add clarification. When you're talking about that grant that came from AWA, council voted, they took 95,000 of it and moved it to soccer. So I think that might be where some of the confusion is coming. It's not the full amount that went to Picnic Hill.
Thank you. Councilmember Mitchell?
I would say administratively, certainly technically, we had some issues and it's obviously gone down a different route without approval coming forward. I know Parks and Recs did have a meeting and discussed shade sales, and some other items that they did not make a decision on, or were told they didn't have to make a decision on. And then suddenly now this is in front of me where some of it's been already done. Having said that, I would have voted yes on everything that's been done. And so I certainly have no problem voting yes again.
Vice Mayor Rhodes?
The last big job this town did, it was over $1 million. And that was an upgrade on the wastewater plant. And I think we had over 35 change orders on that job. So that's nothing new. And we even had a project manager on it. So things like this come up. So
My comments is I do think there is when you, things can sometimes be done differently, but when you're the gun and we're in this project at this point, decisions have to be made and we don't, getting this done and done right had to be made. And I think it was done right. I think in the future we'll make a better effort to do this, but I think it was the right decision and I'd like to see if somebody would like to make a motion on this item.
I'd make a motion to approve the contract for shade sales and construction of handicap parking at Picnic Hill.
I'll second.
First and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Abstain.
I'll vote no based upon the process taken.
Okay, let's move on to item number 4.
Mr. Mayor, staff recently received authorization to send out an RFP for Phase 1 of the parking design at Howard Park. Of the three RFP received, Weber Gill was the lowest for this phase of the project. The bids are attached, and my recommendation is to award the contract to Weber Gill.
The other ones. Council makes that decision, not the city manager.
I said it's my recommendation.
Didn't say that.
Where are the other two?
There's both right here in front
Right
of you.
here.
I see.
You see, there's two. One is from RRM and one is from Weber Geo. Weber Geo,
So
second one
the
is cheapest.
existing contractors that are already with the city are the only ones that submitted RFPs? Where did the RFP get circulated?
Janice, I think it was the RFP, where was it circulated?
Yeah, it helps when people know it's out there.
Oh, it was out there.
Okay, but where was it out?
I
there?
contacted many engineering companies myself,
Can't
including
contact them
Wilden.
yourself.
No, I encourage them to look at the RFP.
No one will work for the city is why.
And you know what? That was accurate. When I contacted some engineering firms that I knew, they declined.
Mr. Allen, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm confused on, we hired a company to do master plans and now we're hiring a engineering firm to design a parking lot. And then that's just to design the parking lot. What's the parking lot's going to cost?
That's what.
That's the purpose of this.
That's the purpose of this.
Yes.
Okay. But I thought this was already in there when we
That was
spent
the
the
master plan,
95.
but you had to, that's the master plan. It had many components, but each component, if I want to spend some money for parking, I have to put an RFP out.
Okay,
Sorry.
thanks.
This is in the master plan that we paid somebody $89,000. It's almost identical to this.
We have to engineer it.
You have to have some designs for the parking area. We don't not have the designs.
I understand, but this is what we received. This is their proposal.
There's two proposals, or
No,
one from
but
our.
this is RR. Okay, so maybe I'm missing part of the agenda because this is RRM Design Group.
That's not RRM's.
This is the one that got approved. Yeah, that's wonderful.
So RRM did not get approved
No.
or is not being recommended.
No,
Weber Geo is being recommended. And this is their proposal.
yes,
There's one page.
yes,
Have they talked about the slope and the pavement?
yes. Well, again, this is what the design is for. This is what you design. This is what it's for, is to do design, to go over all the engineering.
I'm in the wrong business. $89,000 to draw a master plan.
It's not to draw a master plan, it's to do the engineering costs.
I'm just
I'm answering. Okay, Mr. Lee, would you answer that question?
fine. We just.
For the
done.
engineering drawings for the phase one part.
This is their engineering plan. Then let's hire them. It's Weber Geo, right? Two in-house companies.
Mr. Councilman Mitchell,
Huh,
do you have any comments on this?
no.
Vice Mayor Rhodes?
No, I'll just say I agree because I know a lot of engineering firms and they won't touch this town with a 10-foot pole.
Wonder why.
And I have no comments either. Do we open it up for public comment? Do we have anybody on Zoom, Jess? Okay, public comment on this item? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. So I'll entertain a motion on this item, number 4.
Been making a motion to award the contract to Weber Geo for plans for Howard Park designated parking area.
It's specifying a motion if you're authorizing execution of a contract or you'd like us to bring the formal contract back before signing. award.
Clarifying question, if I bring the back, I'd like to just have it executing the contract to Weber Gio for plans for Howard Park designated parking area.
All right, we have a first, we have a second. All those in,
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? You authorize execution of the
Yeah,
contract?
award
It's not-
and execute the contract to
I thought
Weber
we
Gio
voted on
Incorporated.
I'm
for
recommending a
plans for Howard.
modified motion.
You're modifying the motion now? To go ahead and
Yeah,
execute the contract,
oh.
but we don't know exactly how much the contract's going to be?
No, the contract is for their scope. It would be a template and then we add in their scope up to their limit.
And the council's not going to see that scope of work. We're just going to sign it.
This is
To the amount.
This is the
usually if
scope.
it goes over.
I guess I'm used to different scopes. Okay.
Mr. Mitchell, would you like to repeat that?
Like,
Councilman Mitchell?
make a motion to award and execute the contract to Weber Gio Incorporated for plans for Howard Park and designated parking area.
I'll second.
We have first and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
No.
No.
Ayes have it.
Now
Okay,
they're,
now let's go to reports and communications from city attorney. Mr. Rinsky, do you have anything tonight?
Only I heard some comments about the protocol manual of, we were trying to get it on this agenda, so I expect it'll be on an agenda soon for the next round of review by the council.
That is certainly my intention. Hopefully we can. Okay, council reports and communications from our city manager.
Yes, as Mr. Board said, we had a very, very well-attended event this past Saturday. We estimated anywhere between 800 and 1,000 people there. The great thing to see, it was attended by a lot of families. And that's what was great to see. It was a lot of families there enjoying the playground. Mr. Mackey and Mrs. Mackey had a PlayStation play area for the fire department. So Freeze Out was there. It was a great event, very well attended. And again, the most pleasing thing to me, it was attended by a lot of families. So, and also, again, I would like to recognize the public works staff because they did an absolutely wonderful job over the past 3 to 4 months. When you figure that you have only 5 full-time staff members and one full-time and one department head, and they are taking care of 11 parks in addition to Howard Park. To me, they are doing an amazing job. I can't say enough of what they do. And that goes along with all the recreation and all the entire staff. Again, I think a lot of people don't recognize the time and effort the staff spends in terms of all the requests that we get. We get PRA requests, we get grand jury requests, we get all kinds of requests on a daily basis. And it takes away from the daily work that they have to do. Andrea is doing a fantastic job. She's trying to get caught up on all the previous audits that we are way behind, not due to any of her doing and not due to any of this council, but they're doing an extraordinary job getting caught up in terms of the audits. Not only that, but she's finding things out every day in terms of what wasn't done in the past, and she's trying to correct them. So again, Jesse, along with Janice, Michaela, they're all doing a fantastic job in terms of addressing the needs of the city. So again, my comments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Council comments? Council member LaFane?
At the last council meeting, I asked for contract for the prior city manager. I've not gotten that. As for the contract for Telstar, not been acknowledged there. Asked for an update on the RFP. Has that been drafted? Almost final. Who drafted it? And then I did, thank you, Jesse, receive a copy of the building code violations on the police department prior to the price of that building tripling to 990,000. I have asked for multiple items to come back on these agendas using a second council member to answer Mr. Johnson's question. And all of those requests have been denied. For any agenda item, even with the second council member, all of those items have been denied to be put on the agenda. So, just to answer your question, Mr. Johnson, earlier.
Councilman Atlan?
Yes, talking about things getting denied. So I asked and I was approved for having a discussion. Remember, the water agency came in here, Amador Water Agency came in here and said they have a contract with the city, and if you don't do what we say, then we're going to send all of the water per the contract to you and overwhelm your wastewater plant. And so I asked for the contract. There is no contract. We got PRAs from the water agency. There is no contract whatsoever for any amount whatsoever. I asked for 3 months for this to be discussed. And the first time I was told that I didn't get a second in writing. So I got a second in writing. Okay. Then it was going to be put on the next agenda and it wasn't. And then here's the next one and it wasn't. I wanted to discuss, well, what are we going to do with the water agency? They're using our sewer plant for free. Everybody seems so concerned about money, but the water agency gets to use it for free without a contract. Disc golf didn't have a contract, so their contract got pulled because we can't do business with people that don't have contracts. So that hasn't showed up, and I'm just going to tell you right now, don't bother. I'm tired of asking for stuff, and I never get it, so I'm just not going to ask anymore. I asked for the contracts earlier tonight, didn't get those. Also asked to look into some affordable housing, about $200,000 of money paid by the developers that was to build affordable housing. That was November. I was told is on the back burner. So I'm just saying the water agency thing, just pull it. I no longer, if the administration wants to give away free use of the sewer plant to the water agency, then I'm not going to complain anymore. I'm done complaining.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Now, I'd like to thank the Ione Rotary Club for the guardrails at the Evelyn Bishop Hall parking lot, or I don't know if they're called guardrails, but I don't know if you saw them where the lot is.
Jersey
The one.
barriers.
What are they?
Jersey barriers or K rail.
I have no idea what you just said, but yeah, those things.
A rail or Jersey barriers.
Oh, all right. So I like the Jersey barriers in the parking lot so you don't drop off and die onto the lower lot. That's kind of cool. It also was a huge hazard, I think, for our citizenry that would have been liability for the city. So I appreciate that club's, Ione Rotary Club, for standing up and taking care of that for us. Walk for the Troops is April 25th, and I hope to see everyone downtown and then out at Evelyn Bishop Hall afterwards for lunch so we can raise some money for our Veterans Park and celebrate some serious heroes. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Rhodes.
First thing is, Atlin's right. AWA, there is no contract. It's been that way for, I think, 12, 15 years. That was done years ago before I was on council, but they do pay the city every year. Two is, I'd like to give a shout out to our waste plant operators. People don't realize the hundreds of thousands of dollars they're saving a year right now. There's these things called aerators out there. You probably see them throwing the water in there. Those are notorious for the bearings breaking off the end and then they break. The past operators would throw them in the back and every year they'd spend $50,000 on a new one. They pulled out of the junkyard. They pulled 4 of them out of there. They spent $3,000 a piece on them and got them all running. So that was a savings of about $200,000 that cost them $12,000 to fix. So I would like to give them a shout out for that. And I would like to also thank all the staff, Public Works, Jesse especially runs the meeting perfectly, even better than Chief of Police. So,
Give her any.
A lot better looking too.
that's true. So anyhow, that's all I have to say.
She's turning red. Well, where do I start? Public Works, I gotta mention them also because I went out Sunday morning, the day after the Picnic Hill thing and helped clean up or do some cleanup about 8 a.m., 8 to 8:30, and it was spotless. They had already been out there and cleaned that place and I found one piece of paper. CDCR, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but they offered to donate us a flagpole from Preston. It'll be, as far as I'm concerned, considered a historic flag that we're going to use out at Howard Park. I also like to, I don't know how many people know about the Memorial Garden that's been Parks and Rec had worked on, and and have been approved through, it's on the corner of Shakely Lane and Fairway Drive, I think, no, Castle Oaks Drive. And there's an area there that Don and Lisa McCary and a group of them have been working on it, and they put a bench in and it has Corey Shearer's monument there. But it's going to be used for anybody in the city of Ione. And I was the liaison between them and Jeff Christensen with Castle Oaks, with Sierra Management, Golf Management. They're going to provide the water to us. We already have a sleeve underneath the road, and they're going to provide water to us from the golf course because there's no water there, so we can do a really trick landscape there and make a real nice memorial thing. And we're going to eventually encourage people, if they want to plant something, to do so. So that's in the works, and they're going to be in the planning stages of that. So other than that, that's all I have. That's more than I actually wanted to say, but anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion made, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.